He keeps doing this until the black soil beneath is visible. If even a small white stone appears, he doesn't leave it. He does this so that the black color clearly stands out amidst the pure white snow. When viewed from above, this becomes a very large SOS sign, a signal for help. He does this because he has been stranded at the North Pole for the last 3 years. Every day he strictly performs 3 tasks. The second task is to check the nets he has set up. Since he doesn't have any bait, the nets are usually found empty. But today a loud sound came from a nearby net. He immediately ran there and slowly pulled the rope. A large North Pole salmon fish was caught in it. He got the fish, but there was no joy on his face. After all, he had been eating the same food for 3 years. He had just gathered his strength after eating when the alarm kept nearby went off. Picking up his signal transmitting device, he climbed up to the highest nearby point. Then, by continuously shaking it, he began sending a message for help to the outside world. But even today, there was no response. So he returned to his daily routine again. When the time came, he went back and slept. On his return journey, he would always visit his companions' graves. That was the only place where he found a little peace. His life was passing like this every day. The next day, when he went out onto the snow to gather food, he found some pieces of fish lying there. He immediately understood that a large animal had come here. He looked around carefully. Once he was sure that there was no immediate danger, he quickly entered his old plane and shut the door. Reaching the enclosed space, he felt a little safe. He was lucky that the polar bear had already left from there. After resting for a while, he went up the hill again. He kept sending signals with one hand while keeping an eye on his surroundings the next moment. A little carelessness could cost him his life, but even today there was no response. He was just about to return when suddenly the red light on his device turned green. This meant that someone had picked up his distress signal. He began shaking the device even faster. Just then, a helicopter appeared in the distant sky. Seeing hope, a spark returned to his eyes. He immediately lit a signal flare and began shouting with all his might. He felt certain that his trouble was finally about to end. But just as the helicopter was about to land, a very strong wind suddenly began to blow. The helicopter lost its balance. The man just stood there. Tears of helplessness streamed from his eyes. He felt that fate had played a trick on him again. After a while, he composed himself and ran toward the helicopter. He pulled the pilot out, but by then, he had already passed away. A woman sitting in the front seat was still alive, but she had a deep wound on her stomach. If she didn't get immediate treatment, the wound could get infected, and she could lose her life. The man immediately began searching for medicines inside the helicopter. Fortunately, he found an emergency box, but it only contained enough supplies to bind the wound temporarily. To recover fully, a hospital was necessary, but in this deserted, snowy place, there was no hospital. Then he started looking for other supplies in the helicopter. He found an ice-breaking tool. There was also a complete map, but his greatest joy came when he found a box of instant noodles. After many years, he was going to eat such delicious food. With the steam from the hot noodles, his entire body felt alive again. He immediately put the lighter into his pocket. In this snowy world, a lighter was nothing less than a treasure. Then he went to look for the remaining items in the helicopter. Just then, he found a photo. Looking at the photo, he realized that the pilot and the woman were husband and wife, and they also had a small newborn child. Seeing this, he felt even more regret. He resolved in his mind that no matter what happened, he would get this woman out of here alive. After this, he spread out the map and began planning the route ahead. Just then, a sound came from the net set up outside. He immediately ran and reached there. A large fish was trapped in the net. Seeing it, a smile appeared on his face. Now he had a lighter as well as gas, so he wouldn't have to eat raw fish anymore. Coming back, he prepared piping hot seafood noodles. After eating to his heart's content, he packed up all his gear and began preparing to leave for the research station. Before departing, he also left a message for help written on the helicopter. He hoped that if anyone passed by, they would definitely see this message. Their journey was very long. They had to cross about 200 kilometers of snowy mountains, and there was no telling what danger they might encounter on the way. It was possible that a polar bear was tracking them. Moreover, traveling while carrying the woman was not easy. Whenever a steep climb came, he had to find a new path. This would make the journey even longer, but he had decided that he would not leave the woman alone under any circumstances. When night fell, both of them stayed inside a cave. Then he boiled the fish and prepared a simple meal. But the woman was still in deep pain. The man tried to feed her, but she didn't eat anything. Finally, he gave her a little water to drink. When the woman fell asleep, he was also about to rest when he heard the sound of someone walking outside. It felt as if someone was circling just outside the cave. He immediately picked up an iron rod and began looking toward the mouth of the cave. Suddenly, he keeps doing this until the black soil beneath is visible. If even a small white stone appears, he doesn't leave it. He does this so that the black color clearly stands out amidst the pure white snow. When viewed from above, this becomes a very large SOS sign, a signal for help. He does this because he has been